To really, be as successful as you can with any type of advertising, one of the things that you need to know is who is your target? Who are you actually trying to reach? There are products that, can appeal to whoever, like toilet paper, right? And there are products that are going to fit a more narrow type of demographic. And in order for you to reap the benefits of Facebook, you need to really understand exactly who it is that you're trying to get your product in front of. Who is that person that uses your product, that this type of individual is who I'm targeting. And it's best, really, if you can do it in such a way that you have in your mind one individual. So you will, if you have a product that your individual is a guy with a mohawk, he's about 24 years old, he's got tattoos all over his body, he's got a leather biker jacket on. If you get it down specifically to that, this is my target. If you can target it like that, then you have a better opportunity of, number one, sculpting your ads to appeal to that individual, and number two, selecting the right demographic information to get your ad in front of the right kind of people. All right, because now that doesn't mean other people don't buy your product. Yeah, sure they do. But when you think, this is my target, this is my customer, you should try to have something in your mind, an actual individual, not necessarily a group of people, an individual. And that individual might be a single mother. She's 34 years old, and you can get as detailed as you want. She's blonde. She's a teacher. She drives, a Camaro, whatever you want, right? But try to, and it's not that you're making it up. You want to try to find out who is your customer, who buys these products. Also consider, are there people out there that would be buying your product as a gift? Is that something that, like if you sell toys and stuff, obviously there's going to be not only parents, but grandparents, uncles and aunts, things like that could possibly be interested in your product. So is that an option? Are you a brick and mortar store? Do you want to do some geographical targeting? Is the product or service that you have available something that could appeal to everyone globally, or is it something where you need to narrow it down? You need to be able to do that, because there's no point in having an ad. If you're selling something, a service, let's say that you only service a 50-mile radius of your actual store, there's no point in having that ad displayed all over the world. Okay, you're going to pay for those clicks. You're not going to use them. Split test demographics with multiple ads. I've mentioned previously the importance of doing some testing. Remember that you have the potential here, the ability to select different demographics and multiple ads within those demographics. It's very important that you consider doing that, because certain kinds of ads will appeal to different age groups. It'll appeal to different genders. Even though you're selling the same product, there's certain things that you can do that will appeal to who you're targeting. So make sure you take advantage of that. You have to have a good understanding, a clear definition of what your market is, who your market is, before you sit down to try to create your ads. It's going to help you focus on, what type of action you're trying to get. It's going to help you make a connection with them. Yeah, this is why it's so important to sit down and do this planning prior to just making an ad. Who am I appealing to? What am I trying to get out of them? What's my desired action? These things are very, very important, so that when you sculpt that ad, it matches up even better. And, of course, we're still going to be tweaking the ad. But imagine if you don't sit down and think about this stuff. You don't sit down and consider who it is that you're targeting, and you just create an ad. It's not going to be very effective. Let's talk about budget. We want to go over a little bit of what it takes to get, your ad displayed, because we kind of have to try to factor things in with what it is that we're going to actually be paying. What's actually going on behind the scenes is you're bidding on what you would be willing to pay to get your ad displayed in a certain scenario. Okay, let's say demographics match, all that kind of stuff, and this is where I want to show up, right? Now, there's going to be other people that also want to show up there. So what happens is you put in your bid, and you're either going to do the pay-per-click kind of model where you're paying per click, or you're going to do the CPM model, which is per 1,000 impressions. So if you just want to get your ad displayed, no matter how many clicks, 1,000 impressions, you pay a certain amount of money. Obviously, you don't know how many clicks, necessarily you're going to receive. You might get a lot, you might get less, and you pay the same amount. With the pay-per-click model, you're going to pay just when you get a click. So what happens is when a viewer comes to a page to load it, Facebook goes out and it sees who all wants to advertise on that page. And this happens super duper fast, right? And it checks out the amounts, the bid amounts, and the highest bidder is, in a nutshell, the highest bidder is going to win. There's some other factors that we're going to talk about here, but for the most part, the higher bidder, let's say, is going to win. You don't, though, necessarily pay your high bid amount. Let's say you bid 30 cents on something. Somebody else bid 20 cents on something. You're going to pay less than 30 cents because it's going to just bump you up to whatever it takes to beat out the other guy that was bidding 20 cents. Okay, so it doesn't automatically bump you up to your 30 cents. It just does whatever it needs to do to win. Okay. Well, one of the factors that it's going to take into account, though, in addition to that, is past performance. Because it's not just about money. The more successful an ad is, the more likely it's going to be that that ad is going to win other bids for placement there. Okay, that doesn't mean that a new ad is going to not win. Okay, but it's not going to necessarily show up as much. What's going to happen is Facebook is going to look at how often does this ad actually get a click. And Google does the same thing in this respect, because if, let's say you're bidding 30 cents and some other guy's bidding 20 cents, but every time your ad shows up, nobody clicks on it. And, maybe 3 or 4 or 5% of the time, they click on the other guy's ad that's doing 20 cents. Well, Facebook's going to say, okay, I can show this guy and never make any money, or I can show this guy and make that 20 cents pretty frequently. It's going to say, you know what, I want to go with where the money's at. And that's kind of the way that Google operates as well. So your past performance is factored in there. There also is a quality of the ad. That's going to be determined really by the users. The more people that like an ad, the more likely that ad is to win, in a bidding situation. So it's a good idea to create compelling ads and build up a good reputation so that people like the ad. They click that little like button right next to the ad. Your budget is something that you definitely need to keep in mind. But Facebook actually takes that into account as well. If you're, let's say your stated budget needs to be something that is well within your abilities. Okay, it needs to be something that you can afford. But you need to kind of factor out, this is how much money I'm going to spend on advertising this month, and set that dollar amount in your campaign. Are you going to possibly run multiple ads at the same time? Maybe you're going to hit different demographics, and you want to have multiple campaigns going. If that's the case, you've got to divide up your budget for every one of those campaigns, right? If you say, I'm going to spend, $200 this month on advertising, and you're going to run 4 different campaigns, that means $50 a piece. So you need to make sure that you have that entered in there correctly so that your campaign, it matches up. And let me give you a little bit of a technical tip here to help you maximize your revenue here. When you first start out with this, you don't know necessarily what ads are going to do well, right? So what you can do is you can lower your bid amounts so your ads aren't going to show up as much. But once you start to get some stats, you'll be able to tell, okay, yeah, this ad is outperforming these other ones. You might not be getting a whole lot of traffic because you're trying to be careful, right, with your money. Well, so all you do then is once you get some good stats there, you can say, okay, this is the ad that works better. Then go ahead and amp up your bid amounts and get your ad out there more. But now you know you're using a more effective ad. So that's a good thing that you would probably want to consider doing. Also, the campaign duration. How long are you going to be doing this? Okay. A lot of times ads, the whole campaign thing, it takes a little while to get rolling and start seeing some revenue, start seeing some profitability. You can start seeing, man, in just a couple of days, I'm seeing sales increase dramatically. Great. But you have to be able to watch that campaign, be willing to tweak some things and not expect that you're going to be getting instant sales that day. Okay, it may happen, but it may not. Then we want to consider our bid amount. How much is it worth to you to get clicks? As a business owner, whatever you're promoting, you have to understand that there's going to be a point that something is profitable and that beyond that, it becomes unprofitable. Let me give you a little bit of a scenario here, a little example. Let's say you're an affiliate marketer and you're promoting this product. Let's just say it is 16 gigabyte thumb drives, okay? And you will make $5 off of the sale of one of these thumb drives. Well, that's very unlikely because I think you can get these for $20 now, but we'll use that as an example. If you know that out of 100 people that come to your landing page, one person will buy that thumb drive, then you can say, it is worth to me to spend $5 to get 100 clicks. Right? That's like your break-even point. So if I have to spend $4 to get 100 clicks, or in other words, 4 cents a piece, then fantastic. I'm good with that. I'm making some money. Okay, I'm profitable. Well, if I have to spend $6 to get that traffic, not worth it to me because I'm losing money. So there are some things you need to factor in. You have to try to, hopefully you can get some data to estimate at least how much traffic you need to make sales, and how, like, if you can tell out of 100 clicks I make $30, then you can run the math and you can decide what it is worth to you to bid on different scenarios to get that traffic. You have to figure that out. You have to calculate it. I can't tell you bid this amount. You have to figure out what it's worth to still be profitable to you. Now we have also bid ranges. Winning bids are selected based not only on the bid amount, but also the quality of the ad and how well that ad has performed in the past, right? Well, Facebook is going to give you suggested bid ranges to kind of help you win the auctions and get a placement in there. The thing is that a lot of times those ranges are going to be a little bit higher than what it would really take to get in there, okay? Maybe there's going to be a niche that you can get into that doesn't have a whole lot of competition, and you can bid low and still get plenty of placement and not be paying a bunch of money. If you find a niche that is very competitive on Facebook, they're going to give you recommendations, and you might have to go with those recommendations to get placement, and you might even have to bid higher in order to get placement and beat out others. So that's something that just happens. So it doesn't matter necessarily the bidding range that you select. You want to take the time to follow up and take a look at your results. What are you actually achieving? Did you set your bids too low and you need to bump them up? Are they way too high and you could still get placement by lowering them? You have to track that stuff. Take all of this stuff into consideration when you start to think about what you're going to be spending, what you're willing to spend on your advertising on Facebook. In the next video, we'll take a look at some rules and tips. Facebook is very, very strongly leaning towards its users, okay, its community. So it will not bend over backwards to help an advertiser or advertisers in general when that means sacrificing the experience of their users. Now, they are, don't get me wrong, they are advertiser friendly. They're more than happy to help you make some money and get some more traffic. They're not afraid to ban people either. They're not afraid to ban advertisers. They're not afraid to reject ads. But they do want to work with you without compromising their users' experience. Okay, so you have to understand that. Let's talk about some of the basic Facebook rules. There really are a lot of rules. You can read the guidelines that they have for ads, and you can check out all of that stuff. But there's a few things that we really need to have nailed down pretty good. One of those is your destination URLs. The landing page, or where you actually send the traffic when they click that ad. That landing page is very, very important as far as Facebook is concerned. And if you mess up on the landing page, they can get your ad rejected just for that. They'll reject you if they don't like the ad. The URL has to be the actual domain that is in your ad. Okay, you can't do any kind of redirect kind of stuff. You need to send them exactly there. It's got to have, the landing page has to have the information that the ad is talking about. So nothing misleading at all. And they are, they're checking this out. They're not just letting it go and an Autobot checks it out. They're going to check it out. They're not going to tolerate pop-ups, pop-overs, pop-unders, any of that kind of stuff. Mouse trapping, fake closing pages, none of that stuff is allowed. You can request personal information like emails and names and stuff like that, but only, for the purpose of a legitimate transaction. You're not going to, if you harvest people's emails and sell them, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. References to Facebook. They're a little bit picky about how their name is used, okay? Like, for example, you can say, now on Facebook. That's fine. But if you give any inkling whatsoever that Facebook is endorsing your product, then you're going to find yourself in a lot of trouble. And that goes for the ads and landing pages. The copy in your ads cannot ever be misleading whatsoever. It needs to be very clear, and you can't have any unsubstantiated claims. Otherwise, the ad is going to get rejected by Facebook. You can't threaten, insult, harass people. Autoplay ads, can't have that. And you got to be careful about even the language that you use. You need to use proper language. Facebook also has some types of content in ads that it will ban. If the advertisement seems that it's misleading, deceptive, or just not true. Also, they don't allow profanity. They don't allow slanderous comments, tobacco products, firearms, weapons, that kind of stuff. I think we've already covered that. No scams, no hate speech, and things that are related to that. It's pretty well understood, I think, that kind of stuff. So hopefully your business doesn't have to do with any of that. You've also got to watch your targeting, who you're targeting. They don't allow, for example, alcohol advertisements that target people in countries where the targeted audience is under the legal drinking age. Advertisements about contraceptives and things like that, you can only target 18 and up. So if you think that your, whatever it is that you're promoting is one of those questionable things, then you definitely need to check out, their rules, read up on that, and make sure that everything's going to be okay. Now let's look at some of the standards that Facebook gives us. The good news is they really don't have a lot of fine print. Okay, it's all pretty much above board, but you might want to glance over the requirements and read them so you can just, it might save you a lot of frustration later on. So you have a good idea of what's required and what you can and can't do. So go ahead and, give the requirements a little read. It's not very long, fortunately. First thing you want to do is check out your landing page in great detail. A lot of times, at least most of the time, I do it myself, advertisers create their landing pages before they try to do an ad campaign, right? So what you got to do is make it a point that until you are very familiar with what Facebook is going to allow, you got to make it a point to go back and check out that landing page, make sure that it falls, within the guidelines. After you know these requirements, then the next time you want to create a landing page, you're probably going to be a little bit more careful. And you wouldn't be the first person to create a landing page and then create a different one, specially modified for Facebook, that makes sure that it meets the requirements. Make sure that your ad copy is straightforward, everything. You can't have anything false or misleading. Say who you are, what you're doing, why the user needs to click through and check out your product. Just keep it simple and focused, and you should get approved very quickly. Watch your grammar. Facebook is actually very serious about the proper use of language in its ads. So you need to make sure you don't have any spelling mistakes, use the right sentences and spacing and sentence structure and things like that. Just, as if you were trying to make your English teacher happy. You don't want to do things like capitalize every letter in a word just to emphasize it. They don't like that. And now here's one that is a bit different than Google, the use of symbols. A lot of times we try to use a $ or something, or a pound or something to draw attention. Don't get cute with your Facebook ads. They just don't like it. Correct targeting. You want to be very careful that you select the desired target audience that ad copy is going to be relevant to and acceptable. Again, you try to target 15-year-olds with contraceptive products and you're going to be in big trouble, okay? As far as the ad's not going to make it. And you might get yourself to the point that they, just ban your account entirely. Make sure you review your account information. Once you've got that ad ready to go, take time to fill out everything else. Make sure all your ducks are in a row there. Payment problems, account information that's not valid, that can hold up your ads. And let's say that you accidentally did a wrong phone number and they try to contact you and it doesn't go through, and they're going to get suspicious. It's going to cause all kinds of problems and headaches. Okay, so just review your information, make sure it's all accurate. Now, let's get a little bit more specific on the landing page itself. Your advertisement copy is very important, right? Just as important is your landing page, possibly even more, because this is going to impact your ability to gain approval from Facebook. Obviously, the landing page also is going to affect your ability to close sales, to make money, to do what you're trying to do with the traffic in the first place. So, it doesn't matter if you got to balance this. You got to meet Facebook requirements and you got to be able to sell, whether you're selling an opt-in or selling a product. If you haven't made your landing page yet, or you're going to be reviewing it to make sure that it's qualified for Facebook, double check your copy. Okay? That is essentially an extension of your ad. If your ad talks about children's shoes on sale, then the landing page needs to have children's shoes as its main focus. So keep the ad landing page relationship very relevant. Again, you cannot have any pop-ups. You want a very clean landing page that focuses on one thing, either selling your product or selling somebody else's product as an affiliate. If there are any pop-overs, pop-unders, any of that kind of stuff, they got to come off of there because you're not going to get approved. You might even have to create, a whole new landing page specifically for Facebook that does not feature the pop-ups. Because pop-ups are powerful, okay? Let's just admit that. They do work. So if you're going to use them in your marketing in other aspects, then that means you're just going to have to create another copy of that page without the pop-up and send your Facebook traffic there. You want to make sure that any images that you use on your landing page are appropriate. And I would say use images. You want to create a good user experience, but you don't want to violate any of Facebook's policies. So the things that the kinds of content that Facebook does not approve of, you don't want that on your landing page. Make sure that all your copy on the landing page is very clear and defined as far as what its purpose is. That's better for your Facebook approval, and actually it helps you close sales. If you have 100,000 hits come to your website, but your landing page can't convert that traffic, then it's not really doing you any good. And let's talk a little bit about that, closing the deal with your landing page. You want your pages to be visually appealing. The wording itself is what's going to, sell whatever it is that you're trying to promote. And when I say sell, I'm not necessarily talking about making money. I'm talking about whatever your call to action is on that landing page. If it's to get an opt-in, or if it's to, get somebody to sign up for something, get them to join, get them to buy right there, get them to check something else out. Whatever your call to action is, your words are going to sell that. But the graphics that are on the page, they need to be clean, professional, and support that. They need to lend a helpful hand to creating something that is visually, aesthetically, something that we would like to look at. You don't want to make crazy, wild colors that make people nauseous. You don't want the website to be super busy. You just want a nice, clean, direct, attractive, eye-pleasing type landing page. Something that somebody can come there and it's not going to hurt them to continue looking at your page, right? And believe it or not, I see lots of these on the internet still today. So images and video do sell. If you're going to sell products, your landing page needs to have some very nice, attractive pictures of those products. And if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then a video is worth 1,000 pictures. So definitely want to consider that. You want your ad to be focused and your landing page to be focused and relevant. One thing that advertisers have tried to do on occasion is have an ad that is somewhat misleading. And when people come to the landing page, they find out, wow, this is something totally different, and I'm not sure what to do, and I'm not even sure that I'm interested in this, and I definitely don't know what to do next. The worst thing that you could possibly have is, and you think this is straightforward, right? But the worst thing you could possibly have is where somebody comes to a page and they're like, yeah, I think I need that. What do I do? And they don't know what to do next. And believe it or not, that does happen. So definitely a defined call to action telling them what to do is something that is critical for your landing page. A lot of times, having less content on a landing page can actually be more effective. So carefully selecting images or videos, carefully selecting the wording that you use, and not cluttering the landing page up and making it very easy to see what it is that I need to do. Making it easy also to digest the landing page. Making it easy to go through it. This is all wrapped up together, not only in making it aesthetically pleasing, but in selecting powerful phrases. Okay, you can say more a lot of times with 5 words than you can say with a paragraph if you don't think it through. So less is more, and keep it simple, right? The KISS scenario, keep it simple, stupid, or something like that. Or keep it stupid, simple. That's a good one too. You have to kind of balance things out for the lowest common denominator, right? And a lot of times what I find is having a landing page that's all cluttered up with just so you want to cram everything in there about your product. It usually hurts you, okay? Same thing goes for making wild, outlandish claims. A lot of times that hurts you. If you throw in a bunch of hype and stuff, they're not. Most of them aren't going to buy it. Yeah, there are some people in the world that fall for that kind of stuff, but I don't think most of them do. So keep things simple and easy. If you got signups, if you've got order buttons, anything like that, make sure they're very visible above the fold and attractive and right there, and it's pretty obvious what to do with them. Okay? So now that you're kind of up to speed on what Facebook's requirements are and got some ideas of what needs to go into your ad and landing page, in the next video let's talk about the actual anatomy of a Facebook ad.